Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. This is Jeremy Harrell. I am the Director of Branding here at Infinity Social Network. We are very so close to coming out now. We just maybe even a couple weeks away, if even that. So I will allow some folks to get notified, and I want to discuss something very important in the social media world. If you have a few minutes, it's very important, and I think a lot of people need to know about it. Because if you Google it, you're not going to find anything about it. I tried all morning long to Google some of this information that I know is to be true, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So, as we get into talking about that, we'll welcome some of you in on this live feed this morning. Good morning, Shannon and Eileen. How are you both this morning? Well, Shannon, we're actually going to talk about a little bit of something that the White House is doing to break up some of these social media monopolies, and exactly what we mean when we say social media monopolies. So that's what we're going to discuss this morning. I know, well, that's good, Shannon. Good to hear. I'm well too. Another beautiful day on God's green earth, and very happy to be with you guys this morning, especially talking about something that's so important for all of us. Good morning, Faye. If you're just joining us, we are going to be talking about some social media monopoly that's going on, like a collusion between all the major social media networks out there, and why some of these other social media networks that might even be better cannot break through the mold, because that's exactly what's happening right now. These smaller social media networks like Right to Voice and MeWe and a few others, they cannot break the mold. Well, there's a reason why they cannot break the mold. It's not that the people don't want these other sites. It's that the monopoly of social media websites are holding everybody at bay. And they're doing that even with the help of Google and other search engines as well, which is why you cannot Google some of the information that I'm about to tell you this morning, because it just doesn't show up. It is, it's not only censorship, but it's basically making all of us that use social media today a slave to information. We do not have informational freedom any longer. And the reason that we don't have informational freedom any longer is because as long as the narrative is controlled by the powers, corporations, and large amounts of money that be on this planet, you will always only get the information that they want you to have. And in this case, we're talking about the collusion amongst the social media websites, or social media giants, we should say. Now, if you're just joining in on the broadcast, or maybe if you're watching a little later, good morning, Denise. I do want to say that everybody's super excited and ramped up about Infinity, and the only question is all the time, when is it going to be available? Stop talking about it. Stop teasing us. But in all reality, we have to talk about it prior to its coming out. We have to tease or advertise or market, and we have to get people familiar with this site prior to actually launching it. And then we have to have a nice, smooth, successful launch. So we're very, very close. I believe we're within a couple weeks away. But definitely in November, you'll be able to have both of your options of mobile and your desktop. And we really want, the reason why we keep coming forward with question and answer segments, the reason why I keep doing videos, the reason why I'm constantly talking about it is because I would like people as familiar as possible with this site when they decide, A, to move from one site to another, or B, just to create a site so you can have something new, have something to look forward to. So let's talk about the social media monopolies, these huge giants. So President Trump, our president in our White House, has assigned a man by the name of, I don't know his first name, but I know his last name is Simmons. And this man is to oversee and investigate the social media collusion of the big giants of the social media. And I'm talking about YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I believe even Tumblr is in there as well. But I know that those others are named and are going to be investigated. Now, what you're doing when you're investigating these large social media networks is you're investigating billion-dollar corporations, just like if it was an oil company, just like if it was a Shell gas company or anything like that. You are investigating billion-dollar corporations. And when you investigate billion-dollar corporations for wrongdoing or collusion, you're going to get not only major pushback, but you're going to get investors spending a lot of money to make sure that whatever you're trying to do doesn't work. And that is why all of these social media companies are working together with Google to make sure that you only get the information and how they want you to get the information, who's going to give it to you, and who's going to be banned from either speaking about it, knowing about it, sharing it unknowingly. They're going to control everything. And it's finally gotten the attention. I mean, all of us have known for a long time. It's the core reason why Infinity Social Network was starting to be built 3 years ago. It is the core reason for that. So now that it has reached the ears and the eyes of President Donald Trump and others, then I hope what we're going to see is a little bit of leeway starting to be given to us by these other companies. That's what I was hoping, that as soon as they saw that the government was actually going to step in and say, you guys cannot do this, you cannot make people slave to information, you cannot punish them for sharing that information, you cannot punish them for expressing their views and their opinions about current events. I thought for sure that these social media website giants would say, okay, you're right, we don't want any trouble, we don't want to spend billions of dollars on something we shouldn't have to, let's just relax a little bit. That's not going to be the case, folks. Twitter came out with a statement. Facebook came out with a statement publicly saying not only are they not going to basically care or abide by that, they're going to ramp up even more. They're going to stop more of what they call hate speech. They're going to stop more of what they're now calling harassment speech. So hate speech has now evolved and mutated into harassment speech. Unfortunately, most of those folks that I know personally that are banned or blocked from sharing or talking about information have not said anything that goes against Facebook or Twitter's or Instagram's community standards. Believe me, I have read those community standards front and back. And 9 times out of 10, if somebody gets banned or blocked from sharing or just basically made a slave to information, they're not even violating community standards. But I've also noticed that those community standards that we're talking about have changed over the last 2 years dramatically and very, very quickly. Those community standards used to be actual hate speech or harassment speech or breaking the law and things like that. Now, it's a completely different story. Their community standards actually state that if it harms somebody's feelings, or if people continue basically to see the same thing on news feeds, then they have a right to report your page, and then Facebook has a right to take it down. That to me is a bully. That to me, Stephen and I have talked about this for many hours. I've talked about this with other people involved in Infinity getting ready to launch. And it is a bully at the highest level. Now, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr, they pride themselves on stopping the bullying of the world. We need to stop the bullying. Well, if you ask me, a normal, everyday human being who is engaged on many social media platforms, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like that is something that should be allowed to do to any human being, because it's exactly what Facebook and all these other companies say that you are violating when they take you off, that you are being a bully, that you are hurting someone's feelings, that you are triggering somebody, whatever the case may be. So how is it possible for the pot to call the kettle black at the highest level? Because that's exactly what's happening, folks. The pot is calling the kettle black by bullying us, and I mean we the people who engage in these social media platforms. Without us, there is no social media platform. Us as members are the core everything of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitch, all of those. We are the core. We are the foundation. So if we the people are the ones that are giving these folks billions of dollars, giving these folks an online social media platform that's not a ghost town because we're engaging in it, then I think we the people ought to have some kind of rights. And at the very least, at the very least, we the people should have somebody that we can physically call and talk to, or somebody that we can physically email about our separate individual issues that we're having with that platform that we are on. Unfortunately, customer service does not exist anymore, even at the lowest of levels. There is no customer service anymore when it comes to business. There is no shaking of the hand and then you seal a deal. There is no eye-to-eye contact. There is no holding the door open for people and saying, there you are, and someone saying thank you, and you're saying you're welcome. Unfortunately, that kind of stuff doesn't exist on the level that it did 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So at Infinity Social Network, one thing that we're going to have is we are going to have an access for you, the people that use the platform, to be able to express your grievances, express your questions, concerns, ideas on how to make the site better, features and things like that. There's so much more that's going to be built into the foundation of integrity with Infinity Social Network that you don't see with these other companies. So President Trump has actually assigned somebody to oversee and investigate the collusion and the information hijacking that these major social media companies have done. And here's the other thing that I don't think a lot of people understand. Facebook has gotten so big over the last 15 years. They have their hands in so much. Mark Zuckerberg is worth more in a faster period of time than Bill Gates. Just to give you an idea of how powerful this man is. Now, if you guys remember Bill Gates, in the 90s, the government actually made him split up and kind of section out Microsoft because he was becoming too big. The world was becoming too dependent on Microsoft's power. And sooner or later, Bill Gates himself would have been in the hundreds of billions of dollars in personal wealth. You cannot have that. You cannot have that in a world in which we live. So the government basically made him split up Microsoft, which is the same thing that they should be doing to Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. And the reason why they do that is because if these people fail, and so many people's investment money is invested into these people or their companies, if these people fail and the world depends on this company and its access so much, and these companies fail. Say Mark Zuckerberg today decided to pull the plug on Facebook. Do you know what would really happen? It wouldn't be that you would go on to log onto your Facebook account and it wouldn't be there and it would ruin your day because you don't have access to all these people that you used to. That would be this much of the problem. The real problem would actually be that I believe the United States would go into an economic downturn. I believe that we would go back into a recession. I believe that the global economy would tank within a matter of 2 weeks if they decided to pull the plug on Facebook tomorrow. Why? Because of the amount of advertisement money that goes through it from Google, the amount of investors and the amount of money that is invested by people all throughout the government and throughout the world, and the people that use it as an advertising platform and have become completely paperless, and they use Facebook as a sole way to advertise and market their business. But when they do that, not only are they, does Facebook recognize that and make them pay more over time because they hinder their reach, and they say, well, would you like to pay more? You can go back to that reach, and they do so. That happens so much, folks, that if Facebook unplugged tomorrow, the biggest bully of them all, if they decided to unplug tomorrow, everything would tank. And that should not be the case. We should not have a social media company being as big as that, so that to where if it stopped, that the whole world would be affected. That should not be the case. I never want to see Infinity Social Network that big. And if Infinity Social Network ever did get that big, the power would have to go back to the people, i.e. profit sharing for people who have major followings, i.e. Giving recognition and actually maybe prizes and bonuses to people who come up with features. And not only that, even if you do end up using Infinity Social Network more than you do Facebook, the entire network is built on a foundation of family, freedom, and meeting people outside of the network, hence the proximity searching. We want you to be engaged in real life. We want you to use social media as a platform to find or meet somebody so that you can physically go engage in that activity. So you can physically, sorry, my phone's ringing. Let me see what's going on here. That's nobody. So that you can physically go engage in meeting people, talking to people, finding out new things, going on adventures, hiking, fishing, whatever it may be that you find in that proximity search. That's what we want you to go do, so that then you can share those real life experiences back on your Infinity page. They do that on Facebook too, except on Facebook, it's literally people will go to a fair or they will go to a concert just so, and then the whole time they're on their phone showing video and showing footage and being live while they're at that experience. It's not the same thing. You're not experiencing the experience. We want you to go experience it. Take your videos and take your pictures, but put your phone away and then share it and talk with people about it later on. That's the whole point. And so there's just a very, very big difference in these other social media platforms, how they came about and what they are all about as Infinity. And then you compare that to Infinity Social Network. There's an actual reason for this other than making a lot of money or connecting everybody. There's a reason behind this. And that reason it goes to infinity. There's so many reasons that I'm involved in this company and others. I've seen other people on here ask, when is it going live? November is for everything. We're talking desktop, iOS, Android, and it may even be before that, but we didn't want to give another launch date because we already had to delay, and we had to delay for a lot of small reasons, but reasons that were very vital to the rollout of the network. We do not want to roll it out and then have to bring it back and fix something. We would like to roll it out and add features and add improvements as it goes so that you don't have to be given something and then something taken away. Or you never know what can happen when you're trying to launch something this size. So folks, I hope this conversation was informative today. I hope you look into actually the hard information, the hard evidence of what this social media monopoly has done and what it's becoming and what it can do to you in the long run. Remember, physical wars are very bad, very terrible, and people die. Civil wars, same thing, very terrible, the worst thing that could happen, and people die. Information wars last a lifetime. Information wars can last a millennia. And those who control the information and control what you see, like, have an opinion about, or share are the ones that control the world. And that is something that we're trying to get away from. I hope you guys all have a great day. If there's any other further questions, please private message us on here. Private message me individually, and or Stephen Vulich, or anybody else that's connected with Infinity Social Network. And we will see you live very, very soon. Have a great day, everybody. God bless you.